It is your realtor Hugo here with another live. Now we are on the mental health check in. This is your space to check in every day on your mental health and learn something that might pertain to you and how you live. So I am your host, Hugo Quintanilla, a licensed realtor in Maryland with Long and Foster. But this live isn't so much about real estate as it is about you. So we just finished talking about hoarding and how hoarding can impact in the real estate world. But when does collecting turn into hoarding? And how can millennials spot the signs? Ever feel like your collection is starting to take over your space? Collecting is fun, but there's a fine line between holding on to items for enjoyment and the creeping clutter of hoarding. Here's a quick guide to help you understand if your passion might be teetering on the edge. Number one, emotional attachment to every single item. If the thought of giving up even one item makes you anxious, it's worth pausing. Collections should bring joy, not stress. And remember, that little thumbtack or little, knickknack, that's just a thing that you collect. It's really what is the end purpose of our collection? Is it for personal benefit, for display, you know? Or why are we collecting? And everyone has their reasons for collecting. I'm not shaming anyone's collections, but really, we must be aware of how much value we're giving certain items, especially if they're overrunning our lives. Number two, space starts to disappear. Does your living area feel smaller because of your stuff? When collections start to invade your living space, it might be time to scale back. And we're talking about the extreme cases where you have boxes of clutter everywhere and your collection is impeding the normal travel of your home. Number three, organizing becomes impossible. Struggling to keep items neatly organized or even find what you need becomes damn near impossible. Hoarding often brings clutter and chaos instead of order. And what you want in any collection is be able to experience it and enjoy it in all of its glory. I personally, you can see up there, I collect Gunpla models. And I'm limited in the space that I can display them. But when I do display them, I would love to be able to share them in a quality space where it's, you know, up to what I would like to portray them as and really share that with anyone that comes into the house. But you have to be aware of how much your collection is going to really be viewable or usable. It's at what point is your collection overwhelming you? And that's what you really have to come to terms with is the items that you're collecting consuming you? Are they owning you or are you owning these items? And I think that is probably the first step of really getting a grip on my collection is becoming a hoarding situation. Number four, financial strain. Are you spending more on your collection than you care to admit? If collecting impacts your budget or bills, it might be a red flag. And again, I'm not collection shaming, but if you are suffering financial hardships because of your collection, you might want to reconsider what you're collecting or maybe another different way of earning this collection because no one wants to go to the poorhouse over some Hello Kitty dolls or some Transformers or some Pokemon cards. You really have to cover your bases before you can start to invest into a collection. Some of these collections nowadays, especially as millennials are going into later years, are wildly expensive. So very interesting to see how we progress into the future as more and more products are being brought out targeted to millennials that are very open to the nostalgia core of products and commercialism. Number five, social impact. When you avoid having friends over because you're embarrassed about your stuff, there's a sign that you might have a problem. Your home should feel comfortable and welcoming. I'm not saying that you need to change your whole life around for your collection and become an extrovert because of it, but you should not be ashamed to have people over because your stuff is in disarray because of your collection or what you're, have around your home. It should be a space where you feel comfortable bringing people in that you feel comfortable with. At least I think so, in my humble opinion. Number six, difficulty letting go. Hoarders struggle to get rid of things, often with what if reasoning. Collectors can rotate items, donating or selling without feeling anxious. But it really has to come back down to you. I learned very early on in my career in real estate that you can operate in two, so to speak, models, in a scarcity model or in an abundance model. And if you sit there and ponder about the what ifs in a scarcity model, you will never really enjoy any collection. But if you, and the collectors that I have met that live in this space of abundance, they know that leaving and letting go of a piece today could bring them closer to one of their holy grails or closer to even a greater piece of memorabilia. They know that it's a journey and the experience of the collection changing and evolving and growing. That really is almost the beauty of collecting. But again, two different schools of thought. Some people want to hold on to these things to preserve them for history, some to pass them along to other generations. Some really just want the experience. I've met all types of collectors and all types of aficionados. So it really does vary on what type of memorabilia or product it is, because coming down from baseball cards all the way up to cars, it's it's wide and varied, the type of people that spend money on these things and how much money people spend. We've all heard stories of people spending thousands of dollars on online video games. We're not even talking about digital items today, but there is tons of to talk about when it comes to where your money goes and about the what ifs and letting things go. So be mindful of if you have a problem with letting things go and what mindset you're operating in. Are you operating in a mindset of scarcity or a mindset of prosperity and abundance? Number seven, your collection lacks focus. If you're buying things impulsively with no clear theme or plan, it might be more than just a collecting fad. Focused collecting has a theme and goal. I'm not saying, again, not collection shaming, but it tends to focus at some point. If you find yourself going from trend to trend to trend, you might have an issue. So just be mindful of these things as they arise in your world. Number eight, safety and hygiene risks. If items are piling up, blocking exits, or leading to dust and mold buildup, it's time to reassess. Safety first, especially in small apartments where fire hazards can be very, very prevalent. And also an escape. If you need to get out of a smaller apartment, any space in general, if it's hoarded up, oh, it could be horrible. It could be horrible. Number nine, you're holding on to broken items. Collectors typically value quality over quantity. If you're holding on to items that are damaged or unusable, they might be adding unnecessary clutter. So make sure to reassess your items and make sure that your collection is actually worthy of a collector's care. Number 10, guilt, shame, or anxiety about your items. Collections bring pride, hoarding brings worry. If you're feeling negative emotions about your items, it may be time to declutter. It's really on a case by case basis here. You should be prideful in the things that you participate in the hobbies that you have. And I'm not saying you should have, full blown soapbox sessions out in the square about it, but hoarding brings worry. And I want you to hold on to that. Collections bring pride. So if you find yourself retreating because of your items, you might want to reassess. You know, remember, collecting should bring happiness and even a little style to your home. If it's becoming a source of stress or affecting your life, consider talking to someone or even trying a decluttering challenge. A well curated collection tells a story while hoarding hides one. And that's really what I want to leave you with tonight. So, just to recap, tonight we were talking about when collecting turns into hoarding and how millennials can spot these signs. One was emotional attachments to every item. Number two was space starts to disappear. Number three, organizing becomes impossible. Number four, financial strain. Number five, social impact. Number six, difficulty letting go. Number seven, your collection lacks focus. Number eight, safety and hygiene risks. Excuse me. Number nine, you're holding on to broken items. And number 10, guilt, shame, or anxiety about your collection. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Mental Health Check In. This is, again, your space to learn a little bit more about yourself and how your brain operates, and something that you might have not thought about today. So, again, I am your host, Hugo Quintanilla, licensed realtor in Maryland. If you want to learn more about real estate, I have another show. It's the Daily Real Estate Check In. So, go ahead and check that out. We are on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, twitch.com, and Spotify now. So feel free and check us out. I really do appreciate you all. I hope that you all have a great evening. I'll catch you all tomorrow for another live. And